Hello everyone, I am Rajesh. You are watching La Putra YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about examination of witnesses. Before going into the topic, let us understand the term examination of witnesses. What it means? It means a witness questioned under oath in a court, or it is an interrogation of a witness. Let's go into the topic. Examination of witnesses constitutes an important aspect of law of evidence. A separate chapter, chapter 10, consisting of section 135 to 166, explain the procedure of examination of witness. Let us also understand the importance of this chapter. A judge decides the case based on the evidences put before him in the court of law. Hence, evidence plays a vital role in the judgment. A proper and careful examination of the witnesses is most essential for both civil and criminal proceedings. Let us understand the object of this session. The object of this section is to provide sound and reliable principles for recording the evidence of the witnesses. These principles are intended to obtain the reliable and relevant evidence from the witnesses. Now, let's go into the sections under this chapter. Section 135, which is the starting section under this chapter. Section 135 deals with the order in which witnesses are to be examined. It states, in civil proceedings, the order is to be determined or is to be regulated by the provisions of Civil Procedure Code. I repeat, in civil proceedings, the order is to be regulated by the provisions of the Civil Procedure Code. In criminal proceedings, the order is to be regulated by the provisions of Criminal Procedure Code. Failing this, the order is to be determined by the discretion of the court. Let us go briefly one by one. Civil proceedings. In civil suits, Civil Procedure Code, Order 18 Rule 1 states it is the plaintiff who generally has the right to begin. The other party, namely the defendant, has then to state his case as per Order 18 Rule 2. Let us also understand the term right to begin. The expression right to begin denotes the right of a party to state his case first and produce evidence in support thereof. This is very important. We should also understand why the plaintiff has the right to begin, or what is the logic or reason for it. First of all, the plaintiff is the person who approaches the court complaining of some injustice caused to him or breach of his legal right. Hence, it becomes necessary for the court to understand first what the case is, what accusation he has made against the defendant, what is the nature and extent of his grievance, what helps he seeks from the court. He has to be granted an opportunity to establish the cause of action and to prove his claims. If he fails, his suit cannot be maintained. Only after the plaintiff has proved his case, the defendant may address the court refuting the accusations. When we will also understand a scenario when the right to begin is shifted to the defendant. This is possible, but there are two conditions to it. When the defendant admits facts brought out by the plaintiff without contesting, but he asserts that no relief can be granted to the plaintiff, either in point of law, like res judicata, limitations, etc., or on some additional facts alleged by the defendant. In this scenario, the right to begin swings from the plaintiff to the defendant. A citation of a case can be quoted: Sandeep Sankarlal Kheda versus Pooja Sandeep Kheda, 2014 Maharashtra Law Journal 423. Let's see what is the procedure for appeals, civil appeals. In civil appeals, the appellant is heard first in support of his appeal. If the court does not dismiss the appeal at once, the respondent is heard against the appeal. This is as per Order 41, Rule 16. I repeat, Order 41, Rule 16. Now, we will move on to the criminal proceedings. In criminal proceedings, complainant or prosecutor, as the case may be, has the right to begin. As we know, a trial before a magistrate may be a summons case. If it is a summons cases, Criminal Procedure Code section 251 to 258 lays down the procedure. If it is a warrant case instituted by the police report, section 238 lays down the procedure. A warrant case otherwise on police report, section 244 to 249 of CRPC lays down the procedure. If it is a summary trial, section 260 of CRPC. When the trial takes place before a court of session, the procedure laid down in section 226 to be followed. In case of criminal appeals, appellant begins and if necessary, the other side is heard next. This section is covered under section 385 of CRPC. We also know sometimes in both civil and criminal proceeding, witness may be examined on commission. In this case also, the same procedure has to be followed. This is explained in Order 26, Rule 1 to 8 of Civil Procedure Code. In case of criminal proceedings, section 284 to section 288 with regards to the Criminal Procedure Code under CRPC. We will come to the next, discretion of the court. The court is very slow to interfere with the discretion of the counsel as to the order in which the witness should be examined. What is meant by this? This means the counsel, maybe of the plaintiff or of the defendant, have been given the discretion to call the witness as per their discretion. The court generally does not interfere in the order. While the counsel has the discretion, the court has also the power to direct the order in which witnesses cited by the party shall be examined. This is section 135 for you. In next class, we may go by session. We will take up at section 136. Until, thank you.